No toast.
Oh, well.
Great to have you on.
No word?
Frida run the
No, oh, no word.
I have a surprise for you.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah?
Wonderful.
Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to chair this because Frida, who is our usual chairperson, is needed at some student disciplinary hearings that are taking place next door that are going to be lengthy. Let me start the meeting by introducing Trustee James Molinaro. This is his first meeting of the Facilities Committee. And we're very pleased to have you on the committee, Jim, and on the board as well. And we look forward to working with you. We've got a couple of items here. The approval of the minutes of the November 4th, 2013 meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any comments on the minutes? Any need for revision? You all had a chance to look at them? All right, if you're ready for the question then, all in favor of adopting the minutes, please say yes.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are adopted. Turn next to Vice Chancellor Weinschall to give us an information update, and then we'll go to the policy items that require committee action.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I too would like to welcome Jimmy Molinaro. I had the pleasure of working with him for 6 years of the Bloomberg administration, and it's a pleasure to have him here at this table. So welcome, Jimmy.
Thank you.
I will not be making the presentation. Jennifer Friedman, who is the director of our public-private partnership group here at CUNY. I'm going to just introduce it and then hand it over to Jennifer. I think as we've all been hearing and seeing on TV, the governor announced a couple of months ago a very exciting initiative called Startup New York. And this is a statewide initiative with the hopes of attracting new industries and new businesses to both SUNY and CUNY campuses. All CUNY campuses will be included, and as per the legislation, there will be one Startup New York location per borough. And Jennifer will take us through how we selected which campuses we would pick on each of those boroughs. We have been working very closely with the governor's office as well as the Empire State Development Corporation, which is taking the lead for the governor's office on this. And Jennifer and her staff and I have rounds. We have taken the Empire State folks on a grand tour of CUNY, and they've been able to see all of our wonderful campuses and facilities. And we are hoping soon that we will be able to work with businesses and with brokers to attract the type of businesses that the governor would like to see on these campuses. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to hand it over to Jennifer.
Okay, thank you, Iris. Okay, so the startup program has been referred to as a game-changing initiative launched by Governor Cuomo to accelerate job creation and entrepreneurialism across New York State. Led by Governor Cuomo's appointee, Leslie Watley, the former global head of corporate real estate at Morgan Stanley, the goal of Startup is to create tax-free zones on eligible university campuses in New York State for new and expanding businesses. Through the program, businesses will have the opportunity to operate free of state and local taxes on or near academic campuses, and their employees will pay local personal income tax. As part of the startup legislation, CUNY has the ability to designate one campus in each borough in an economically distressed community to participate in the program and host tax-free zones. The 5 campuses designated by the CUNY Board of Directors and the Empire State Development Corporation include City College in Manhattan, the College of Staten Island on Staten Island, Medgar Evers in Brooklyn, York College in Queens, and Bronx Community College in the Bronx. Tax-free zones may be located in vacant space in a building or on vacant land either on or associated with a campus, in an incubator with an affiliation to a campus, or in a state-designated strategic asset. There's no limitation on the amount of square footage that the 5 CUNY campuses can contribute to the program. Additional CUNY campuses can participate separately in the program. They would be competing with other colleges and universities in New York City. Colleges would be limited to contributing only 150,000 square feet to the program. Businesses interested in participating must be either in a formative stage of development or a high-tech business. They must create new jobs. They must not compete with any existing business within the immediate community. They must be aligned with or further the academic mission of the host campus, and they must provide positive community and economic benefits. Businesses in the tax-free zones will generally be exempt from New York State taxes, including business, sales, and property taxes. The income taxes paid to new employees of the businesses will be fully or partially exempt from state and local income taxes for a period of 10 years. The benefits of the program to CUNY and its campuses are numerous. The program requires that businesses align with or further the academic mission of the campus or college through such things as training programs, as well as research and job opportunities. Economic benefits to the college can include rent from a lease arrangement, capital investment in a campus property, and rights to intellectual property. The startup program is complicated. As we all know, CUNY's campuses have limited underutilized space. Therefore, identifying space to put into the program has been and continues to require creativity. The tax-free zones cannot jeopardize any existing tax-exempt bonds used to finance property on our campuses. Many of the campuses will and have already been inundated with interest from businesses, some of which may not qualify, others of which may not have an affiliation with the college. We're putting in place a uniform selection process to ensure that the interests of each school is being prioritized. And there are numerous stakeholders that will bring their input to bear on the program. Let me just go through the various steps that we need to take through the legislation to actually implement these tax-free zones and approve eligible businesses. The 5 CUNY colleges are currently preparing what are called campus plans, which identify the space on each that each campus is seeking to designate as tax-free, as well as the types of businesses the college plan to attract and the ways in which the businesses will align with the college's programs and provide economic benefit to the community. The campus plans will be shared with the college's faculty senate, student government, local development groups, and other elected and interested parties 30 days prior to being submitted to Empire State Development for approval. That's part of the program's legislation. Once the campus plans are approved by Empire State, the colleges, with assistance from Empire State, local brokers, and CUNY, will market the tax-free zones to eligible businesses. All interested and eligible businesses are required to visit the college for sponsorship. The colleges will work with CUNY to evaluate applications submitted by the businesses and through a review process make decisions to sponsor certain businesses. Once CUNY, the college, and the business have arrived at a tentative arrangement, the sponsored business will apply to the Empire State Development for approval. ESD will take no more than 60 days to approve or reject an application. So that's sort of the overview of the program. What I thought before taking any questions is to just show you a commercial that maybe many of you have seen. It actually showed during the playoffs yesterday, which is kind of remarkable.
If you watch cable, news, you've seen this commercial quite a bit. But
Uh-oh, let me see, let me try to get it. I don't know if I'll be able to. Having a little technical trouble here, so.
Is it in the middle, Jennifer?
No, I can't, I should be able to through,
Maybe we won't show it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it.
Can the guy help us in the back?
Oh, wait, here maybe.
Where is it? There we go.
The new New York is open. Open to innovation. Open to ambition.
Here?
Open to bold ideas. That's why New York has a new plan. Dozens of tax-free zones all across the state.
That's Buffalo.
Move here, expand here, or start a new business here and pay no taxes for 10 years. We're New York. If there creates more jobs and grows more businesses, we're open to it. Start a tax-free business at startupny.com.
Okay,
Thank you, Jennifer.
sure.
So I'm sure you're all filled with questions.
Well, I should say that when I met with the governor, I had a meeting a few days before Christmas, and we talked about one thing and another for about an hour. This startup, New York, was the main thing I wanted to find out about. He was very pleased that the board had designated the campuses, one in each borough, already by the time I saw him, but I think it's fair to say this is an important program for the governor. So it'll be interesting to see what we can develop around these campuses in each borough in the way of new businesses or growth, the business growth and so forth.
I think the model that the state is looking at is similar to what we saw around MIT grow up, you know, around the campus. They had all that land that they gave to all these startups, you know, and I think that's one of the examples that they're trying to emulate here in New York State.
The Staten Island has a great opportunity with the teleport, which they have about 120 acres now that they've put out for RFPs. It's close by. It's well serviced by transportation, and it's close to the college also.
And the great thing about this program is that the property, although initially we're identifying properties on the campus, any property off the campus would be annexed
Yes.
as part of the campus and then would be eligible. So just what Jimmy was saying,
Yeah.
piece of property was found at the teleport, then that property would then be annexed as part of the campus and be eligible for all these benefits.
Annexed temporarily for the 10-year period? Is that what you mean, annexed?
Yes. Or if some structure were to be worked out between CUNY and the company, and they're committed to 30 or 40 years, we could extend it longer. The tax benefits would just extend to 10 years.
10 years.
Because at MIT, some private developers did come in, develop the property, and then put the businesses in, so it went long-term. Who ultimately makes the decision on the business? Who designates the business as eligible? The college or ESDC?
Be the college and CUNY will together submit an application, which will then be officially approved by ESD.
So each campus will have a application or Startup New York designee who will work with an ESDC designee.
And with Iris's office.
Sorry,
Yes. So there's somebody on the campus who's been designated, who Jennifer and I are already working with. And then, as a group, we will then work with the Empire Corporation.
and who heads the program? Who are the co-heads at ESDC?
It's by this woman, Leslie Watley, who is working in Empire.
Leslie Watley.
Yes, and she was, as Jennifer said, she was at Morgan Stanley, and before that, she was at Detroit. I know that the head of Empire State, Ken Adams, has been very involved. I
Yes,
know
he
that
has.
he has met with the chancellor on this, so he's been involved as well, as is the staff. One of the other issues is that the state has a lot of surplus property all over the state, and there's a group in Empire State who deals with this surplus property. And in one of the initial conversations we had, they said that they would talk to us about this surplus property. Maybe there's an opportunity there for some developers or some businesses.
They're like a Staten Island, they have the old prison site.
Exactly.
Which is about 73 acres, so there's quite a bit of property there. The question that I have, like with the teleport now, they have a parcel that's 20 acres. Could there be 3 different businesses in that same parcel?
Sure.
That would be annexed, or must it be one of
No.
the same?
Could be 3 separate businesses, could be
Okay.
10 separate businesses.
Okay,
They're looking to encourage.
that's
as many
interesting, that's
businesses as they
interesting to
can.
know, because they're smaller companies.
Well, they're actually looking at smaller companies that
Yes.
could expand beyond where their startup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the tax benefits on this program are really quite extensive, even including income tax, and there is with a 10-year exemption. I'm just wondering, is CUNY going to be responsible for monitoring compliance with the program over the 10 years, or is that going to be ESDC?
That's ESD's
ESDC,
responsibility.
Jim.
Okay,
ESDC.
because I could
We're
see
not in-
reputational risk if we are monitoring.
We're
that.
not in that line of business.
Okay.
Nor do we want to be.
Audit risk.
Are there other questions about Startup New York?
When is it kicking off? I'm sorry. I didn't-
It's kicking off now.
Yeah.
We actually, as the chairman said, we submitted and the board designated the 5 campuses.
At
We're
the
now
last-
submitting their plans up to Empire State, where we're preliminarily designating real property. But the program is very fluid, and even though we've designated parcels on the campus, they can easily be substituted with other parcels. So people shouldn't be concerned if they see a parcel that we've designated. It can easily change, and we can come up with other parcels.
I assume that this ad is the primary vehicle for marketing and reach out to businesses and communities. Are there other vehicles?
No, there are other vehicles. I don't know if.
Yeah, I mean, there are efforts of all sorts of outreach. I mean, the ad is what it is. I think it's basically a political ad. But the outreach is what falls to Ken Adams and to Leslie Watley to pursue.
So
And
it's
I know-
ESDC's role.
And I
Yep.
know that Ken has been, God bless him, has been all over the state, talking to all the chambers of commerce, and Leslie has started to visit all the major counties upstate to try and address, this program and market it.
I'm sorry, did I also hear you say that all 64 SUNY campuses are eligible?
And they, of course, are involved in the marketing exercise as well, Charlie. I mean, they are dealing with local possibilities.
Has the neighborhood around City College been delineated that will be the tax-free area?
Well, as Ira said, we're currently just looking at sites on the campuses, but we will start looking outside the campus. I know the college has spoken to one of our on retainer who are beginning to map out for us some sites in the area that they think might be appropriate to contribute.
The defined zones are economically distressed areas as defined by the census. So
That's a big area.
that's a big area, so
College.
we'll be okay around City
Less so than
College.
it used to be, but still.
And by the way, one of the things that Leslie has talked to us about, as we would well imagine, is Columbia is very interested in partnering with us because, they could use us as a vehicle. We haven't started with them, but she has been talking to Columbia because they would be very,
So the partnering would be to what benefit to CUNY?
I'm not saying it was a benefit to CUNY.
Well,
I'm
no,
just
I-
saying there was an enthusiasm on Columbia's part, because remember, they go into the pool that has to compete on the private college side. So we have not had any discussions. She has had the discussions, and of course, we would have to,
It's possible, Charlie, to imagine a deal in which as Columbia moves north with their science investment there, that they're looking at people, businesses who might be connected to some of the projects they're doing, and we would be cut in on a deal that would be advantageous to us. At the moment, it's hypothetical, but a conversation worth pursuing.
Yeah, because the northern edge of Manhattanville gets proximate to CCNY.
yep.
Right, Mr. Santos?
Correct, yeah, correct. Are there any other questions about the Startup New York?
This is great.
Okay, well, Iris, keep an eye on it as it develops, because I'm
Most
sure the
definitely.
committee would periodic reports on what's happening, in each of the boroughs in terms of businesses being affiliated and setting up and arrangements made.
We'll be happy to come back on a quarterly basis and update the committee on what's going on.
But I think it's very important in reviewing these business applications, very important to stress that we want the business to help the college So we want internships, we want jobs, we want, opportunities for kids to do credit-bearing work. in
Also
these
opportunities for
businesses.
faculty to work across,
Faculty
particularly
to
on tech
work
transfer,
and-
intellectual
and
property
on
issues.
tech transfer, yeah. So I think the committee and the board as a whole will be very interested in the non-economic benefits of this to CUNY, as well as the economic benefits, which could be quite substantial.
Great.
One other point, and you, Mr. Chairman, but a critical point, which I hope Professor Martell will corroborate for me, and that is that these businesses either have to be in the formative stage or the tech stage, or maybe both. And I think one of the things we have to be very mindful of is the failure rate for startup businesses, and whether there will be any. I know ESDC used to have technical assistance to startup businesses, or certainly the SBA. Are we aware of what we don't get any negative feedback that we've selected 10 businesses at CCNY, and a year later, 4 of them have gone under tax benefits or no? Am I off base here, Professor Martell?
It would be nice to be able, well, look, some of these businesses are not going to succeed. I mean,
That's right.
Probably a majority.
Well, that's-
there
there
is,
you go.
there is
They're high
a,
tech.
but there is a tax advantage here that gives these smaller businesses to see if they can
Yeah,
succeed.
no, the
That's
tax
one huge
advantages
advantage.
here are very substantial, millions of dollars over the 10 years.
There are businesses on the other side, on the Jersey side, that are very anxious to come here, and they would be attracted to it. We were dealing with a cosmetic company, and they needed 175,000 square feet plant and 50,000 square foot office, make cosmetics, perfumes, all that type of stuff. And they looked at the teleport, but there was no tax initiative there for them to come. See, to them would make sense.
Sure.
Would make sense.
I guess my question stands as to whether, in our work and the college and ESDC's oversight of the program, whether there will be any kind of technical assistance available to these startup businesses beyond tax.
You mean like small business support
You betcha.
functions? Yeah.
Because taxes are wonderful, but you have to earn money. I'm sorry.
My
Not
guess-
property tax. You got to pay that whether you earn it.
Right, well, that's the point. You better have the cash to pay it.
Although, we'll confirm it for you, Charlie. My sense is that Empire State does have that type
I
of
think they
technical
do.
support for
But
small
I think
businesses.
our
Whether it
campuses
will be
would
adequate to this expanded initiative remains to be seen, but there is at least, there are offices that address this, and Jimmy knows about this.
Well,
Is CUNY going to be expected to provide any capital support, to build facilities for these entities?
No, we made it very clear. We have no capability of doing that.
Other questions? All right, well, thank you very much, Jennifer, that was very interesting. We will follow this with a lot of interest, Iris, so I think quarterly reports would be a good idea. Should we turn to the policy items now? Do you want to give us a brief summary?
Sure, I will do all 4 of them.
They look pretty routine.
Yeah, they are. So the first item is college, and it is to authorize the New York Power Authority to execute a construction contract on behalf of City College for the provision of pressure-independent control valves on the chilled water system for CCNY's North Campus buildings, with the exception of Marshak Science. Let me just say that the college expanded the central heating and refrigeration plant to support the new ASRC and CCNY buildings, which I might point out are going to be opening very soon. And with the construction of these 2 new buildings, there'll be an increased need for new pressure valves to control the flows from the refrigeration plant. So this resolution will approve the provision of 82 new pressure-independent chilled water control valves to supply all North Campus buildings except for the Marshak Science Center. And the work is expected to be completed by May of this year. I'll do all of them, and then you'll take a
sure.
vote,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
The second item is,
Questions, just raise them as we go.
Very exciting items. The second item is for York College. It's for the greenhouse and animal housing HVAC upgrade. To authorize the general counsel to execute a construction contract on behalf of York College for the upgrade of the mechanical equipment for both the greenhouse and animal housing labs located in the academic core building. Having done a 2009 feasibility report, it indicated that the HVAC systems in both these areas in York College's main building were in poor condition and needed to be upgraded. When the work is performed, the HVAC systems will be upgraded in both buildings, and the greenhouse area will be expanded slightly to include an outdoor or terrace classroom. I might point out, Mr. Chairman, that the funding for this will come from a Reso A allocation of $2.4 million. Probably the money came from the borough president and some city council members.
What kind of animals do they have at York College? Are these just research mice and stuff like that?
You know, I know the president is here. Oh, she had to leave. Is she here?
She's here. Marcia, what you got cooking?
Yeah,
Are they
what are we experimenting?
research animals, you said?
Usual stuff about rats, mice, and fish coming in.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
No monkeys.
No buffaloes.
No dogs.
And Mr. Chairman, the construction is expected to be completed by December of 2015. The next two items are for Baruch College, and they are similar items, although different funds. We worked on both these buildings, both the administration building and the field building, to upgrade the fire alarm systems. As a result of the change in the building code, we have to go back to both of these projects and do upgrades of both fire alarm systems. For the administrative building, it's a $300,000 amount of work, and for the field building, which is a much larger building and which everybody knows is under major reconstruction now, it'll be a $2 million amount of work. Both these modifications will be done to the new existing fire alarm system, but they'll be now the upgraded fire alarm systems to the fire code. So those are all the items. Yes. Oh, he has a question.
Yes, could you describe our process just for auditing, current fire safety conditions around the university? Because obviously it's a very difficult portfolio with buildings of all ages. And I know that in fact you do work at trying to keep stuff up, but fire safety seems like something that could easily
fall by the cracks, but
Yes.
it doesn't. We take it very seriously. Let me just say that many of the buildings that were built for CUNY were built by DASNY. They were not required to be built to the building code, New York City building code, and therefore they didn't have to meet the New York City fire code. So many of the buildings do not have upgraded fire alarm systems. As we have gone along, and we've done a lot of critical maintenance projects, we've done a lot of upgrades to many of our buildings, we have done a lot of fire alarm systems here at CUNY over the last 5 years. If there is not a fire alarm system, we have a fire watch. And that means that you have guards who go around the building, they're trained, they know what they have to do. So the good news about all the critical maintenance money is that we have a lot of work going on in the campuses. And the better news is that I think many of you on the board have seen, we've brought over the last few years, have been new fire alarm systems that we have put in.
Thank you.
I don't think we've had a significant fire in the 14 years that I've been on the board. And a lot of other universities have had very, very serious ones with loss of life and terrible
Who is my
stuff.
grandmother.
So,
Please.
so we're either lucky or we're doing okay with
Yeah,
these
let's
inspections.
say both.
All right, any questions, any of these four items for the Vice Chancellor? Then I'll move the approval of all four of these items. May I have a second?
Second.
Are you ready for the question? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? Those four items carried. Is there anything else for the committee?
That's it for today.
We're done.
Yes, Charlie?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, Vice Chancellor. I'm really curious, as we begin 2014, what are the hot projects on the burner that you can talk about that we should be aware of that are going to come up in the next 6 or 8 months?
Well, let me just say that we have a number of very large critical maintenance projects that we're working on. I mean, we're not talking about.
Critical maintenance.
Yeah, we're not talking about $2 or $3 or $4 million. We're talking about 20 to $100 million
Yes.
critical maintenance projects. We have a number of projects that we have put out for design that we're very excited about. Is for the new nursing school at Lehman. Another one is we're exploring the opportunity to build a new science building at Ostos on land that we already own. And as Senior Vice Chancellor Hershenson knows, the Borough President of the Bronx has been very supportive and very helpful of this project, and we're very excited about it. As well as we have a number of large projects in construction that we have to monitor each and every day. The Performing Arts Center at Brooklyn, if you go out there, you'll see it's come above ground. We broke ground for the new academic building at New York City Tech, which is taking a lot of time and effort on our part. But I would have to say, Charlie, one of the things that we are most proud of is that we are well putting to work the money the state gave us for critical maintenance. We have almost $800 million worth of projects that either we've completed or in construction now. It's quite a lot. And I would dare say if you go on our campuses, you'll see something going on where everyone's getting a little piece of the pie. So it's a very exciting time on all the campuses.
Are we still about 20% of the total construction?
We're falling a little bit below
Falling,
now,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, if they give us more money, I could make it up to 20%. But right now, we're falling a little bit
Yeah, a
below.
few months ago, 1 in every 5 construction workers in the city was working on a CUNY project, which is really something when you think about the economic impact of that.
That's public and private combined.
Look at private, yeah.
Although, I'm sorry.
ahead.
Although the ones that are under construction are very large. New York City Tech is over a $400 million project. That's big. ASRC is enormous as well.
Well, I know actually this is the committee that does oversee this, and if I'm meddling, please tell me. But are you comfortable with the size of your staff in terms of span of control and responsibilities?
Absolutely delighted with the size of my staff, and I say it over and they're the ones who make me look good. They are pure professionals, and I think, I know Gail has had a lot of interaction with them as well, and she heads up the COPS committee. They are just phenomenal.
Thank you.
Well, some of the projects that are completed, I mean, for example, the new building over at John Jay's, just incredibly great. And I think the new science building up at City is going to be some awesome piece of work.
And the law school is just.
And the law school is beautiful too. I don't know if you've all had a chance to see the new law school, but it is really very nice. And very conveniently located for a
Yep.
change.
It's great.
Are there other questions for the Vice Chancellor before we adjourn? All right, well, thank you very much. The committee is adjourned. What's next?
Next meeting is